大家好，我姓龚，叫龚理查。这回我想对西西方人西方人见面的人们是契丹谈话。对不起，我不会，我不会汉语，我不会说汉语说的那么好。So let me get back to speaking English as always. So it's really tough for me to use Chinese language. So this is an excuse, but some people said my Chinese pronunciation was really good, but I have I have no time, or I have literal or almost no opportunity to use Chinese language, which is why my Chinese skill is my Chinese skill deteriorates day by day and year after year. Anyway, so what I said was, hello, hello, hello everybody. My family name is Gong, and my full name is Gong Richard. So this time, what I'd like to talk about is Western Western people met uh Western people met Kita Kita or Kitai people or Cassie people. So about which I'd like to tell you stories. So taking that a long time. So what I'd like you to know is that first of all, what I'd like you to know is the how should I say the origin of the name China. So how should I say? So I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Western. So title is I made a mistake in the translation or in interpretation. So Western Western people met were Khitan people, not the Kitai people. Kitai is the name of their country. Anyway, so let me explain. Let me make a sort of this story, and after which let me explain to you. So first is the origin of the name China wasn't, how should I say? Let me explain to you the origin of the name of Cassie. So the origin of Khitan people, or anyway, so in this episode I'm going to call Khitan as Khitan people. So origin of Khitan people are, how should I say, Khitan people. Origin of Khitan people are Khitan people. So what I'm saying is that, so to start with, Khitan people are different from Chinese people, and in some periods, or in some periods, Cassie people or Khitan people are considered to be the same as Chinese people, or so the majority Han people. So maybe months before or episodes before, I said I told you that so the majority of Chinese, or the majority of mainland China, or the majority people of mainland China is Han people. So what I'm telling you is that once before, or in your past period, or in past periods, Khitan people are the same as, or Khitan people are in the same category as Han people, or that of Han people. But to start with, they are totally different peoples, and Khitan people are not nomadic people, and Han people are not nomadic people. Maybe Han people are not nomadic people. So but Cassie is the origin of Cassie. The word Cassie is the word Cassie is English word, and the origin of Cassie is Khitan people, not Chinese people, or Han people. And China, so where China stems from was the name China, where the China name, or where the country name China stems from is Cassie. which means, China is derived from Cathay, and Cathay is derived from, or Cathay is originated in Titan, which is different from different from the majority of Chinese people. So it's complicated, isn't it? Anyway, please make sure that Cathay and China are different. Please understand like that. But China is originated in Cathay. So, and another case, not another case, but this is a similar case. But so this is a case of Russian language, but this is a case of Russian language, and how to say Chinese in Russian is Kitaisuki. So Kitaisuki is Chinese language, Chinese in Russian language, and Kitai is, of course, Kitai is the same as maybe the country or the country name or the name of the people named Kitan. So which means Russian people called the language Kitan people speak Chinese language or Kitaisuki, which is why the people Western, maybe this is my guesswork, or this is my speculation, or this is my expectation, or how should I say, this is my imagination. This is a work I fabricated or I imagined that maybe the first Eastern people, Western people met are Khitan people, or Khitan people. Maybe Khitan people are the first Eastern people, Western white people met, which is what I think is a historically correct stuff. So in this episode, so the conclusion of this episode. So in this episode, what I'd like to tell you is that identification is important, or identification is necessary. So this is just an example of history, or how should I say? This is just an example of history. So what I'd like you to know in this episode is that identification is important. So changing the explanation, not changing the explanation. Explanation is going to be changed in this point. So what I'd like to introduce is unknown stuff. So for example, I think you can understand this if you are a researcher. But if you are a researcher, there are many unknown things. There are many unknown things because science is proceeded like that. So if you reveal some knowledge, or if you find out something unknown to, if you change something unknown to known stuff, for example, scientific researches are done in that manner. So by researching and developing, people reveal many unknown things to and change those unknown things to known things, or familiar things. So which is how scientific discoveries are made. So, and this is a case too, or this is true in the case of your daily workings or your daily works. For example, when working, you face a lot of problems, and you face a lot of, and in some cases the causes are unknown, or you have to, or in other words, you have to detect the causes of problems you face in the course of your work. So in such a case, what you have to do is to identify the unknown cause, or what you have to do is to how should I say? So it's like if you face some problems when you are working, so there may be some causes which is hidden, or which is not clear from your perspective, or in the position you are on. So in such a case, you have to identify the cause of the problems. So in most cases, or in the cases of ordinary people, people do not think that deeply. People do not think that deeply. So in which case profound thoughts are necessary for solving such problems. So what you have to do is to identify the cause of the problems or the problems themselves. So you have to so for example to probe the problems. What you have to do is what is recommendable is so you have in such a case you have to collect what is known or what you know. You have to collect the pieces of information available in that situation in which you are facing some problems or some huge problems for in some cases. So you have to if I'm sorry. So let me make a sort of what I'm going to tell you. So if you face some problems when you work or when you are working, what what is recommendable is to collect pieces of information about those problems, by doing which you can clarify the problems or the causes of those problems. What I'm calling identification is such actions or such an action. So I will tell you again. So identification is necessary when you face some problems. This is a case to this is a case not only to scientific research and not only to your working situation or in your work to. This is not only the case to your workplaces, but also every case you are in or you are involved in. Please make sure this point. So going back to the original case of Kitai. So maybe in the case of Kitaisiki of Russian language. Kitaisiki is Chinese language in Russian language. Or maybe in such a case maybe is Russian language in Russian language. Kitai is Chinese language in Russian language. So maybe in the past those Western people didn't do identification, or they might have done some identification, but the identification those Western people in the past weren't enough, which is what I thought. So which is why you live in this present time. I'm recording this episode in the winter or in the beginning of the year of 2022. So you live in 21st century, which is why I'd like you to do those identifications when you face some problems, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So the main story of this episode is over. So at last, let me correct my mistakes I did in the beginning of this episode. So the mistakes are the mistakes are in Chinese language I used. So I stopped this recording on the way of recording, and I checked out some and I during not that interval, while I stopped this recording, I investigated and found out some mistakes in Chinese language. So correct Chinese language, correct manner to say is, so at first the title is, so西方人们见面的人们是契丹. So I said 西方人们, but I said 西方人, but to start with, I shouldn't have said people. No, I shouldn't have said person, but people. I should have said people, which is why 人们 is the correct answer. So and Western is not 西方 but 西方. So which is why 西方人们见面的人们是契丹. Which is the correct title of this episode. And another mistake I made was I remember I said maybe I said yeah I said 这回我对西方我对I said 这回我对西方人见面的人们是 契丹, but this is wrong. This is wrong. So 这回 the correct version is 这回我关于西方人们见面的人们是契丹. So what is wrong with the word after 这回is this time. So this time is about is 关于 So 这回关于西方人们见面的人们是契丹谈话我谈话 So I talk which is maybe this is correct. This is the correct version of this. This is the correct version I should have said. And maybe of course there must be some mistakes, or there must be many mistakes even in that correct version. Of course there must be many mistakes even in that correct version. So but please let me correct the mistakes I could find out. So this is all. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you and 再见。